gamers. This is Lamer Travis and
Skylar
for the Lamer Gamers podcast. Rowdy won't be with us this week, but hopefully he'll be back soon. I'm actually airdropping him an Xbox One X, so he can join in the ConanExiles.
Yes.
All right. Now, today we're going to have a special side quest episode where we'll give our review or impressions, or actually we're calling it imprevutions.
Yes.
Of Conan Exiles, along with some of our favorite adventures we've had building Kraken Castle. Also, talk about fighting an impressive range of monsters, getting lost over and over again,
And learning that you should never, ever follow Travis on any adventure, anywhere, ever.
That is the truth. You will die. Also, we'll give you some tips and tricks for the game that will help your exiled and very unclothed beefcake warrior stay alive a little bit longer. I wrote that a couple weeks ago, but I keep dying. So, after that, we'll end the show with a special bonus points where we asked a bunch of lamers on Reddit this time at the subreddit for Conan Exiles, what was your first purge like? All this and more coming up on the Lamer Gamers podcast. Rowdy, cue the music! Alright guys, so we are going to start talking about Conan Exiles. Now, this is not a regular episode, it is a side quest, so it doesn't really have a normal flow. We're not going to talk about the news. That will probably happen pretty quick in the future. Anyway, Skylar.
Yes.
We were exiled.
We were.
Do you remember what you were exiled for?
I'm not 100% sure that my reasonings for being exiled are appropriate for your podcast. But let's just say
you have a special way to say them.
I was exiled for improper handling of a male chicken.
A male chicken.
That's
okay.
That's about the best I can do.
Mine involved mongering, which I think I can say monger.
Yeah, should be okay.
I don't know if I can say the first part, but it's...
Were you mongering women of ill repute?
We'll say that.
Okay, yes.
There was also there was a couple of other things too. So at the beginning of Conan Exiles, you start off by basically, literally being crucified. Mm-hmm. They put you up on a cross. They attach the reason why you have been kicked out of wherever you're from, and they give you 3 random reasons, and some are funny, some are scary and terrifying, and some we can't say on this podcast. In fact, there's going to be a lot of random things we're going to be coding in this podcast. In fact, if you are below the age of 18, don't play this game. Don't. I mean, it's a game. Yeah. All right. So what is to you? What is Conan Exiles like? To me, it's.
To me, it is if Diablo 3 had a baby with The Sims.
Diablo 3 had a Sims baby. Okay. Now explain how is Diablo 3
Okay, because to me, the feel of it, the atmosphere, the color schemes, that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Very Diablo, and then there's the killing of monsters that aren't normal monsters, like the gorilla turtles and stuff like that.
Gorilla turtles. That's the thing.
So it has like the Diablo feel to it to me, but then you get to like literally farm and build whatever house you want, and skin things. I don't know. It's very Sims meets.
It's everywhere.
It's Sims plus violence. Whatever violent video game you like.
There's lots of violence.
Plus The Sims. That's what it is.
Okay, so we actually have who we play with quite often, who you can find on Twitch. Look up Cleanest Python. But he says it is basically Ark plus DayZ minus zombies equals Conan.
That's math. That's too much math.
I wasn't ready for math.
Mm-mm. My little brain can't handle it.
So, to me, it's got a lot of different good aspects of a whole bunch of games, and they just kind of all they're not really like mixed together real well.
No,
they're not like
not at all.
homogenized.
Not
You
at
know,
all.
if I'm going to use pie, the Conan pie, I wouldn't eat a Conan pie because it's probably full of spiders.
My character would eat a Conan pie.
And people, yes, because your character eats people. But it'd be like a chicken pot pie of video games, right?
Yeah.
You have the outer crust that I think is the survival game, and they filled it with a whole bunch of random things inside that surprisingly work well together. You know, maybe the aspect of the building is the cream sauce. So, and then it's got all the chunks of spiders, the chunks of people trying to eat you alive, the chunkiness of the rhino babies or the, you know, just gods you worship. And it's all in a box that says Conan the Barbarian, who is known for, you know, defeating his enemies and calling for the lamentations of his, of the women folk. So it's a game. And a lot of people compare it to Ark. That is what I hear the most is, it's Ark done right, but it's broken. It is full of jank.
Oh, it's incredibly janky.
So this is going to be our, not quite a review because we haven't finished the game. And I always hate that whenever you have somebody that's like tried to rush through a game and they didn't quite finish it and they're going to give you the review, but it's more than impressions, so we're going to call them improvutions.
I love it.
Improvutions. So we're going to break this down and explain what the game is for somebody that has never played it, because we want you to join us in our cult. Crew.
One of
us. The Kraken crew. In fact, we can give you some information on how to join the Kraken crew at another time. Just reach out to me on Twitter at LamerGamersCast and we'll talk. Anyway, so we're going to talk about the game mechanics, the controls, the graphics and presentation, sound. I have one called, there was an old gaming magazine. You remember magazines?
Magazines.
They're okay.
Magazines.
So it's not quite as old as tablets that you write on with stone.
Yeah.
But it's not quite as new as an iPad. There's this
Are you talking
time
about
frame.
books?
No,
like,
it's like books, but they're sent out monthly. And they're printed.
Like Book of the Month Club?
Sort of, yeah. And you pay people. But there was a magazine that had the fun factor. But we can't use that because I'm sure there's copyright somewhere. So we're going to call it Funosity. The funosity of this game. The funosity. And we'll also talk about what keeps us coming back to this game. After that, we'll move into bonus points and read all the entertaining purges. And I guess we'll tell them what the purge is. All right. Game mechanics. Character creation. Now, whenever you start this game, you get a lot of choices.
Cool, so many choices.
And depending on where you're at, the amount of nudity involved in this is different.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're in England, apparently, it's
all of it.
All there.
All the nudity.
U.S. and other places. I know for the U.S., the ESRB, as soon as it's like, I'll explain it this way. Top nudity, they're okay with for a rated M. Bottom nudity, not so much. That becomes an AO game in America. But in England, it's different. So, anyway, so your character is literally just hanging up on it with a loincloth, most likely. And you can choose the faces, and they all look pretty rough. You can choose skin color.
They're not.
Their
the
hair.
faces,
they're
okay.
Yeah.
And the
they're not
hairstyles
good.
are okay, but the hairstyles don't really matter in the end because you're going to wear a helmet most of the time that you won't be able to see the hair anyway.
So, and then we have a god you can choose. And that matters a little bit because you get certain perks depending on which god you worship from building a shrine. So, and then you get stuff from that.
And they have other races, like various races to pick from, but what we've kind of figured out is the race isn't really important. It's the religion. The religion is the most important aspect of what you choose during the character creation.
Because I wanted to be a sorcerer. And I picked the race that was like, sorcerers, and I picked the spider god.
Yeah.
Zath. And I can throw spider grenades, which we call spider babies.
Yeah, throw them spider babies.
There's a whole Muppet Babies theme song that goes along
kill
with it in my head.
indiscriminately?
Yes. Well, I've actually managed to make them discriminate, which sounds freaking terrible.
Wait.
Okay, hold on. I've managed to make spiders target people. That's a little bit better. Yeah. So there's a way to do it, but it's still danger. Because if you are adjacent to said target where a spider is vomiting poison, you get hurt. We've all found this out. We've lost people.
R.I.P. Mikey.
Yeah, so
Mikey was the first to go.
What's that?
Mikey. He was the first to
Mikey.
go. R.I.P. Mikey.
So you're up on your thing, and all of a sudden Conan the freaking barbarian shows up in all of his beefcake glory. I guess that's the term now, is beefcake glory. I don't think I want to coin that term now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway.
You heard it here first.
Anyway, so you have Conan, which, by the way, I had all my people mixed up when I was sending memes for this game. I was mixing up Kevin Sorbo with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
How did you do that?
I don't know. But what was he in that was... Kevin Sorbo was in something. It wasn't Conan the Barbarian. Hercules. Thank you,
thanks.
Python. Yes.
Hercules.
The smartest Python.
Hercules.
So Hercules, and I'd get him mixed up. Anyway, so he pulls you down. He gives you some sort of speech that doesn't really matter, and you're just going to go out in the desert. And if you live, you live. Who cares?
He's like, we're gonna take you down from here, but you can't go anywhere because you'll die.
Yeah, you go to Noob River.
Yeah, you can just stay here, but if you go there, you're gonna die. So
yeah, so this game has gathering, which the gathering is very Minecraft like. Yeah. I mean, you hit things with axe, hit things with pick, hit things with pickaxe. Have various levels of pickaxe and hit things with. Hunting, there is kind of hunting. You hit things with axe, they go chop chop. You get meat.
You get skinning knife. Get them hides.
Yeah, and you also, I mean, you can hunt with a bow and arrow, which I think we did at first because at the beginning, things were hard to kill.
It was so scary at the beginning.
So just to let you know, when you start this game, you're going to die.
A lot.
You're going to die a lot. Yeah. And depending on the mode of this game, which we'll get into in a little bit, you're not only going to die a lot because of the game, you're going to die a lot because people are evil. Okay.
Just in general.
Yeah. Also, there's crafting. So crafting is also another thing that is very Minecraft-esque, but I would say you build different things to craft. So you might have to build like an armorer's bench, or you might have to build a
blacksmith's table.
Yeah. So the building is garbage.
I agree.
Building, all the other stuff is decent. Oh, and we're not supposed to forget cooking.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, cooking.
Cook things.
And you need to cook things. If you don't have meat that is cooked and you have not leveled up your survival,
food poisoning.
Happens. It's very much then turns into a 3 a.m. Burger King run simulator. And you get sick and your stamina drops. It's really
bad.
Spot on. They got that one right. But building sucks. They need to work on building.
Building is pretty terrible.
So what happens is, as soon as you put down a piece on the ground, it makes like a grid based off of that piece, and everything has to be connected to the original. Connecting two structures together is pretty much impossible.
Yeah, I agree with that statement.
I hate it, but I love building things.
I do too, but it's almost impossible to make a fence that closes completely by meeting up in the perfect place.
Yes.
I like that they did the support system, like where it has to have enough support in order for you to keep placing blocks. Otherwise, it won't work because that's real life. That's a survival aspect of it, and I enjoyed that part.
Okay.
But
I didn't think about it that way. I thought about it with intent.
You can only build so far out from a support system before it's going to collapse.
Truth.
And that's like a survival thing.
I do like that aspect. Like if you build a plinth and then it shows you like it can go 4 things. Yeah.
But I don't like that you can't control the height at which something is placed. Like, for example, the foundation. You can't, it's really difficult to manipulate it in a way that you could make the foundation higher than ground level.
Actually, there's a way. You press Y.
I push Y and I just crouch down. It doesn't
then you got to press the right trigger.
Oh, is that the other
thing? Raises. You want to set your foundation.
See, we're still learning new things. I have to like get really, really far back from where I want to build, and then I move the.
You try to find the highest part already.
I try to get it just a little bit up, and so eventually I get it there. But yeah, but I like that they actually took the time to say, okay, look, if you build this one piece of foundation, you can't go any further than this out from it, or it's going to collapse. So it won't allow you to do that. I think that, and now that I actually understand that's how it works, because it took me a long time to
the game's not very good at explaining things. And I don't know if it's a language barrier because it is a European game, and I don't remember where
there's just not much guidance. And I'll be completely honest with you. I downloaded the game about a month before we actually started playing it. I played for 5 minutes. I died, and I quit. Because I had no clue what was going on.
No, we shouldn't play this game.
Because at first I really didn't think it was going to be fun.
We got to do story time real quick.
Okay.
Because some things just popped up that I didn't realize. So we played zombie game.
State of Decay 2.
State of Decay 2. And I think everybody was y'all were running into a wall because y'all pretty much done everything.
Yeah, I mean, it was getting to where we were just changing maps for a new scenery.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just to that point.
Oh, let's see how many big dudes we can kill simultaneously.
Let's
bring Travis along to upgrade
that was just you.
How hard this game is. But, so we had the discussion, what game are we going to play next when we get tired of this game? And I was totally going for Conan because Rowdy 5000 suggested this game, and then Lewis is like, oh, we'll try it. And I didn't realize you had played it.
Yeah, no, I did for like 5 minutes, and then
I could see
shut it down.
If you didn't know what to do in this game, but you don't know what to do, it sucks.
It does. And so I think that was the difference for me, is playing with it in a group versus playing alone. Right. And it took me a while before I was comfortable enough and confident enough to like say, okay, I can play by myself while the guys aren't on, and be okay with that.
Right. Friends don't let friends play Conan Exiles by themselves. Be a friend and help a friend and join the friends. All right. So building, it's a thing in the game. There are some really cool, I don't know if you've looked on the Reddit, but there's a lot of cool ideas.
Have you seen like the actual pyramids?
Yes.
Like they make legit pyramids in the middle of the desert, and it's beautiful.
There is a significant amount of material farming involved, but
it's grindy.
I want to make crazy things. I'm really thinking about making a cathedral. I have
really
made a museum. You've made a
lumber mill,
but a tree house, which is really cool.
Lumber mill's inside the tree house, and it's amazing.
We have the Kraken, which we probably will need to rebuild. I think
we're to a point, where we need to probably deconstruct some things, rearrange some things, and make it better. It's still a good base. I would like for it to still be there for when we have new people join, so that we can meet them there. They can get geared up, get ready to go.
Yeah, it's really good location.
But it's just Noob River. It's basics. It's bottom of the barrel. But we built a heck of a good castle there.
Oh, yeah. For right off the bat, it was kind of crazy. Okay, so also you can raise animals in this game. There is a difference there are two types of animals in this game. There are fighting animals, which are animals that follow you around, like... we have lots of names. Komodos.
Salamanders. They say salamander, but it's an iguana. I don't care what they say. That's an iguana. That's not a salamander, but the game name is salamander.
Sir Gator Esquire.
Ostriches.
Ostriches.
Ollie Oxenfree. That's my
Ollie Oxenfree. Yeah, I have Boudreaux and Thibodeau.
Hyenas.
Hyenas. They guard the Museo del Exile. But then they have riding animals, which there are two types: horse and rhino.
Because those two things go hand in hand.
Now, I will say the rhino I love. I think it drives everybody insane around me because I boop everything to death.
But it's super cute because when you're riding on it, its little booty wiggles and it's just like do 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 do, and it swims so cute. It's adorable.
So, what is your favorite animal so far?
I have to say, as far as like riding goes, I prefer horse just because they're faster. They don't get stuck on all the rocks like the rhinos do.
Yes. Rhinos can't jump.
Rhinos can't jump and horses can, and I just really enjoy jumping over sand dunes and crippling myself, and it's amazing. Send it every time. Just send it. As far as like pets go, I am so stuck on the Komodo dragon. He's amazing. They're tanks. They can take all the damage. They get the aggro, they take the damage, but they actually deal quite a bit. They'll just rip somebody's throat out, no problem.
Because that's what they do.
And I do have a lot of like the ones you have to actually spend gold coins on. So I have like the shoe bill. We have the rock nose monsters and all that. But I'm still a plain old Komodo dragon girl. Not even a greater Komodo, just a plain
I do
old
like
Komodo.
the Komodo dragon. I got a spider. The spider was really cool, but he got stuck in the worst places. And I think he was bugged, and that's not a pun.
Spider was bugged.
Because, so it would do some things like there'd be an item that showed up that says, like, hit damage 2B. And I think the way the game works is the weapons on animals are things you normally don't see in an inventory. And they shuck them, but it didn't actually drop it on the ground. It just moved it from, invisible slot to visible
Inventory
slot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was interesting. So my favorite animal, I think I like my spider.
Yeah.
I haven't been using spiders though, because I have friends in dangerous places where the cannibals live and the
Oasis.
blood.
That works.
Yeah,
Oasis works.
There's
an oasis there.
Yeah, it drags the people away and it eats them someday. But so,
at some point we need to talk about Conan's greatest
maybe
hits.
that's the song we need to make.
Yeah, the Conan's greatest hits
Conan's
needs to be a thing.
Okay, so
we rewrite songs every day.
We play on the server, and by the way, we got a server.
Oh yeah, private server, because that's how into this we are at this point.
We'll talk about why in a bit, but if you're on our server, you have to join in Conan Karaoke.
Yeah,
because we are strange. We make songs about everything.
Everything.
So anyway, the Wheel of Friendship, which we have renamed because it's called the Wheel of Pain.
But that sounds so aggressive.
Right? I don't like aggressiveness with my Wheel of Friendships. So in this game, you get thralls, which is a keyword for another term.
It's basically NPCs, though. It's just pretty much any NPC in the entire map is referred to as a thrall. Team. Yeah.
And you have to break them.
You give them Stockholm Syndrome.
Exactly.
And then they will live with you until they die for you.
Yeah, and you make them basically work a grain mill is what it is. And you feed them porridge?
Gruel.
Gruel. Yeah, you feed them gruel, and then they are on your team. You can have them follow you. You can make them carry stuff with you. You can put them in all sorts of crazy outfits.
And there are different classes because you have like the fighters that you equip, and they can literally be a companion and follow you around. You have armorers that just work the armor bench. You have cooks that just work at the stove. So it's different depending on what their classification is.
Yeah, because tanners will not follow you around.
No.
The dancers will.
And the dancers are kind of awesome, though.
Okay, so dancers in this game are a little bit different than you would expect. Because whenever you think of dancers, like, I don't think of them as like being super cool, knife-wielding, back-flipping, crazy people.
Assassins.
But I love that. And when you dance, they take the corruption away.
I spend a lot of time singing Private Dancer by Tina Turner while we play Conan.
Yes.
I can't lie.
And that is one thing that's different in this game. So you can get something called corruption when you get to certain high-level areas. And it lowers your stamina and health bar max level. So you can't quite you don't have as big of a health pool or stamina pool, and it sucks. And there is a cap to the stamina. I don't know what it is. But, yeah, Wheel of Friendship. Get a friend. They join you. Go on adventures. I've had, Kraken Karen.
Mad Maxine.
Yes.
R.I.P. Mad Maxine.
R.I.P. Mad Maxine. Miss you. Mad Maxine died from the King Scorpion. And Kraken Karen asked for the manager by force and asked to take 30% of your face off.
Yes. And she got it.
So speaking of that, bringing people around with us. There is actual story and adventure in this game somewhere. It's hidden, usually in scary dungeons.
Yes.
Surrounded by all sorts of monsters, skeletons, giant spiders, iguanas, people coming after you, traps. Oh my goodness. So last night, I was playing with Cleanest Python, who you can find at Twitch, right? And we've gone to dungeons before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been into a dungeon with a lot of traps?
No, I don't think any of the dungeons I've been in have had traps.
Well, apparently this dungeon is where they keep all the traps, and there is a terrible classification system.
Ooh.
And they're just left everywhere. There's fire explosions. There are spikes. There is poison.
No, thank you.
There's an entire, you have to get a key from some glowy skeleton dude. Then you had to figure out where it goes on the thing, on some sort of map. And if you get it wrong, it hurts you. And you go through multiple rooms, and one of the rooms was just the storehouse of dangerous steppy things. And we died last night, which is why I'm known as the person you don't go adventuring with, because I usually come out alive and bring your stuff back.
You're cursed.
But I think Cleanest Python, I've passed the torch to him.
But see,
maybe, I don't know. I'm
I
trying
still
to.
think because
I'm trying
you
to make
were
it a thing.
You were part of it, so it's still kind of your curse.
It is kind of my fault.
And see, I wasn't there for it, so I really can't make a determination either way.
So,
but I'm gonna say it was just because you were there.
Yeah, we died, and number 3, I think, is still there. So I get to a point in this game where I've gotten a lot of thralls, and I'm running out of funny names. So I need
you did
more
that with State of Decay too. You just numbered them after a while.
I started numbering my crews on State of Decay. They were just number
7.
1, number 2, number 3 is tired. Oh, I get the next one. Number 4, you're up. So if you can think of some funny names, please let me know at Lamer Gamers Cast, and we'll have to name some for you. But yeah, so we had some adventure last night, and there is some story related to it, and it actually does reference the show, because apparently there's an entire actual you would think a TV show and a movie there was a story to it, and there is. It's weird.
It's just not apparent. You have to go looking for story.
Yeah, I think nobody really looked too closely at Conan and just kind of thought, oh, B movie. But in my mind, that's how I see it. Anyway, so that's really fun. It almost turns into like a Dungeons and Dragons sort of adventure after a while, because there are sometimes you have to figure out how to get into the next room, or what. You might have something whispering to you in the shadows.
Like the very first dungeon that we accidentally found.
I may have glitched into the dungeon and brought everybody on an adventure.
He glitches into the dungeon, and then we have to find our way into... Oh, but we were in a party that time, so it rubber banded us.
Yes,
they joined me. It was before we got our own server. And then we get down there, and then all of a sudden, we're trying to find our... It took us, 2 hours? And then we realized you had to have a bow and arrow is what it was. So we had to find things to craft a bow and arrow while we were in the dungeon, because we didn't come prepared.
I think we made axes, and then
throwing axes. Yes, we did. But then we ended up finding enough materials to do.
We had to make a bow and arrow for the last one because it was too far.
Yep. And then we killed a giant snake slug. I'm going with snake slug.
I think snake slug is accurate.
I think that's fair.
I don't think we threw salt on it though.
No, we definitely hit it with. At that time, stone weapons, because that's all we had.
I think I died 6 or 7 times, honestly.
Once or twice, yeah.
Y'all actually had weapons. I was straight up naked running around with the stick, I think, and it was a 3-skull enemy. So the enemies in this game, you have your base enemies. You then have, depending on how dangerous they are, like 1 skull, 3 skull. I haven't really seen the 2 skull. I'm disappointed.
Now that you say that, I've only seen 1 or 3.
Or all the skulls.
Go big or go home.
Yeah. And they're corrupted enemies. So you might have an alligator that is a little bit heftier than the other ones.
I've seen them called corrupted. I've seen them called chaos. I've seen them called all kinds of things.
World monsters.
Boss, yeah.
There's wikis, guys, and the wikis are all wrong.
Well, they're out of date.
Yeah, this game has been updated a lot. It's been around for a couple years.
Oh, man. It's been updated so much that even the Conan wiki is not accurate 90% of the time.
And I think a lot of stuff was added recently, like the animal followers and how they act and stuff like that. So it's changed a lot, and it will probably change more in the future.
Yeah.
All right, and then we need to get to the purge.
Dun, dun,
Is
dun.
a major gaming mechanic on the main game. Now, there is a Isle of Sipta add-on, which uses something called Maelstrom, which is a whole nother ballgame.
It's a whole.
I think we're
thing.
gonna have to do a podcast when we get to there.
Yeah.
So, but the purge is basically you build bases or outposts, and the game sees foundation pieces, and if you go over a certain number, the game realizes you need to die.
Mm-hmm. Getting too big for your bridges.
Mm-hmm. It needs to put you in your place. So there's a meter that basically says something to the effect of the purge will come for everybody.
Purge will come for you eventually.
Eventually, yeah. And when the purge happens, a horn sounds off. It shows an X on the map. Everybody runs feverishly to the X on the map, and you have to defend it. There's usually a small speech that happens by me beforehand.
It's always very empowering and uplifting.
Yes. Yeah, that last one was super uplifting.
One was. I mean, I was ready to die for you after that last one.
Everybody was, because y'all need that. Well, we don't really need the Iron Outpost as much anymore. It's not as useful.
No, I go there every day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm
Sweet.
upgrading all the building materials at the jungle outpost, so I go every day and get iron for steel reinforcements.
Okay, cool. Use. Yeah,
Yes.
utilitarianism.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the purge happens, and then they send enemies at you in waves, and depending on where the purge is happening, you may have higher or lower level enemies. Now, we are cheating.
A little bit. Only a little bit.
Only a little bit. So since we have our own server, we're building the purge up to get ready for it, because we all freaked out a little bit when we realized they will destroy the castle.
Yes. And we worked so hard.
Yeah. Now, they sent cannibals and ostriches at us the first time, and I think we were a little more at ease.
Yeah.
Because we destroyed them.
Yes.
Their ostriches didn't even get a chance to put their heads in the ground. So
we put their heads in the ground.
We put all their heads in the ground, collected them in a basket, made stew out of them.
Yes.
That sounds like a totally Conan
really
Exiles
does,
thing to do,
yeah.
wouldn't it? Ostrich head stew.
Yum.
You should get a perk for that.
Yeah, you should.
Anyway, so the purge happens. It's really awesome each time. It's scary each time.
It's so much anxiety.
Now, the problem runs into the fact if you build your base too well and the game can't figure out an entry point, it sometimes janks it up and drops the biggest, scariest enemies in the middle of your base.
Or in the middle of rocks, because that happened to us at the northern outpost.
And we had to find
and the
where to kill 'em.
mountainside, and we had to throw gaseous orbs at it until it finally died. But yeah, so I had to move all the pets out of the way, and it was fun. The jank.
The jank is real. Now, do you know what's worse than the purge and all the jank that comes with it?
Tell me.
Player versus player. All right, guys. So we are so there are 3 different modes in this game. Player versus environment. Player versus environment with I don't even know what that middle
Plus
mode
conflict?
is. Conflict, yeah.
I don't know what that means. We've never done that.
I think you can have war, fight. Boom, boom.
Oh, okay. Like you can declare war on someone else.
But you can't destroy their bases.
Okay.
I think. Then there's player versus player.
Mm-hmm.
Player versus player is I'm not even going to bother with it.
I don't want to.
Like, if you're into games like Rust and stuff like that, where you like it, you probably will enjoy the heck out of it. Now, I have heard horror stories of player versus environment where random people will do what's called griefing. Have you ever heard of the term griefing?
No.
Apparently, it's a term that's been around for a while, and I just learned of it. So, let's say you think about the, our castle, right?
Okay. Yep.
You know how I want to build a bigger castle around our castle?
Yeah.
To eat it?
Yeah.
Well, apparently you can do that to other people if you're in a different clan. You make
around
a massive structure around it or fence them in.
And then they can't open the door because they're not in your clan.
Bingo. So they grief people.
Oh, that's
it causes
messed up.
grief. It is messed up.
I would be so mad.
Yes, exactly. So those are the modes. Let's go ahead and move on to controls. How does this game control to you? How do you feel using the joysticks and the buttons and the whatnots?
I don't mind the joysticks. I feel like I mean, we talked about this the other day. We feel like they should sit down and every game designer should come up with a universal, this is where this button is kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because how many times have we looted an entire chest?
Oh my gosh.
And the chest into our inventory because we hit Y?
Okay. The Y button is important, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on where you're moving, because there's a lot of resource moving. Sometimes you take resources from your imaginary pockets to the chest or to an enemy or to a campfire. And sometimes Y button is drop. Well, if you're going from a chest, a campfire, iron, some sort of metal table thing, you've got a bunch of insulated wood, and you're putting it into imaginary pockets.
Mm-hmm.
Y is loot all.
Mm-hmm. So if it's in your inventory and you push Y, you just drop it on the ground. But if it's in a box and you push Y, you loot everything in the box into your inventory. And then you have to put everything back one by one, slowly.
Yeah, and you become encumbered, and you walk really slow unless you have dual blades and you can backflip wherever the heck you want.
Yeah, I tried to backflip with my axe, and it was like, you can't do that. You're over encumbered.
And also you can climb, and it doesn't change the stamina.
Swimming.
You can swim.
Yeah.
No problems with 400 pounds of insects. But if you jump on your horse and you're over encumbered, your horse goes slow. But if you get off of your horse, put all these things in your horse, on your horse, somewhere.
We're going to say saddlebags.
The saddlebags of your horse.
The invisible saddlebags.
Yeah. It can then travel at normal speeds if you're not personally over encumbered.
Yeah. Because the thralls, the pets, the horses, rhinos, they can't be over encumbered.
Yeah.
They have a certain number of slots that you can fill, but it doesn't matter how heavy it is because they will never be over encumbered.
Yeah. Which, I mean, from a programming standpoint, that makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. But from a logical standpoint,
yeah.
Okay, so controls also, I did find there's an alternative control method.
Yeah, you mentioned that, but now I feel like I've
played
done
the
this
game
for so long. Yeah, that I would mess it all up.
It's exactly why I haven't changed it, because a lot of the buttons, like I really hate attacking with shoulder buttons.
Yeah.
Because, A, jump. Yeah.
Yeah.
X, interact. Mm-hmm. Right shoulder is
light attack. Light attack.
Yeah, light attack. Right trigger is heavy attacker special. B. I'm getting my Nintendo in Xbox.
Evade or dodge.
Evade, dodge, and Y just drops things, I guess.
And crouch down.
Oh yeah, crouch. I never use that.
Yeah.
When do we use that?
I use it if you're thirsty, you run into the water, but the water's real shallow. You've got to crouch down to drink out of
pro
it.
Pro tip. Yeah. If you need water and you're at a really short river, or really shallow, that's a better term.
Yeah.
If you're at a really shallow river, then
crouch down.
Crouch. Yeah, you can drink from it. It's crazy how that works. Yeah. Anyway, so controls are okay. They're They could be better.
Yeah.
And they definitely need to work on menu stuff. Now let's go over to graphics in part of our improvisations. Review expressions.
Them things.
Okay, character models and design. We already said character models are kind of garbage in the face.
Yeah.
They're all beefcakes.
Yeah.
The design of the character models, their armor is really cool. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it has issues, and it's like you went on a dark corner of the internet. Mad Maxine, for instance. Yeah. So it's hit or miss. Some of them are really cool, and they base it around the cultures from the show, which is fun. And I do like that there are cultural differences between different camps, different, like there's Argonians, there's Defari, there's some other ones I don't really know because they don't give you a good story, and some dudes come out running after you naked.
Which
going,
ones are the pirates?
I'm gonna kill you. What?
Which ones are the pirates? I can't remember their names.
The pirates?
The pirates.
I know. Are they called? I don't know.
No, they have like a name, and I can't remember it.
Yeah,
they're the ones that are like, watch your flank. Me and me mates are thick as thieves.
They all got peg legs.
Yeah, but then whenever you tame them, their peg leg goes away, and that makes me very upset.
What?
You know how many thralls I got just because I wanted peg legs?
You can tame the peg away?
Yeah, you tame the peg away.
peg away.
Yeah, they forget they need a foot.
Oh,
or the
man.
foot magically grows back.
It grew back.
Yeah,
Maybe
the
they're
foot
lizard
magically
people.
grows back. We didn't talk about lizard people. That didn't happen. No,
Wait,
I'm just
lizard
joking.
people?
We didn't talk about how you can use limbs to beat people over the head.
Oh, yeah, I do that. So all right, kind of going back to my character, they have to get venom. It's not venomated. It's basically venom purified blood.
Mm-hmm.
You do a lot of sacrificing in this game because you're all kind of like pagans.
Well, but the religions are important, though.
Yeah,
Except Crom. Crom's a jerk.
Yeah, Crom doesn't matter. Whenever I use this sacrificial knife, it also gives me a bunch of random arms and legs. And then I can use those as weapons to harm things. They're not bad weapons at the beginning of the game.
No, they're actually pretty decent for beginning of the game, yeah.
Yeah, so, if you just
club people to
death with a foot.
Yeah, with a foot. Or
it's
arm.
clubfoot.
Yep, clubfoot.
Clubfoot. Okay, cultural differences are cool. Daytime versus nighttime, the graphics are... The nighttime graphics are really pretty.
It's so beautiful.
But it's dark.
But you don't want to be out there.
Yeah, this game definitely is like... We have gone on many adventures like... I'm waiting until the daytime.
Yeah, we're just going to stand still. Everybody just stand still.
We
don't
tell
move.
campfire stories or sing songs.
We're going to put a campfire down and we're just going to sit here till it's daytime because you can't see a foot in front of your face.
No, and I had a problem where I dropped into what's called the Unnamed City.
Yeah.
And there is a graphical glitch that happens every time you log in, or like 90% of the time, where a sandstorm shows up and turns everything white.
Like so white you can't see where you're going.
But if you're in the Unnamed City, it makes everything so black.
No way.
It was terrifying because I teleported. Gosh. You can teleport, by the way, when you get a map room. And there's obelisks that you attune your bracelet to. There's a lot to this game.
It's a lot. It's such a big game.
There's a lot to this game. And we're still finding out so much. Anyway, I dropped in the middle and I was running. I couldn't see like a foot in front of my face. I couldn't see silhouettes or anything. I put on a torch.
Yeah.
And you could see maybe like 2 feet.
Yeah, the torches in the Unnamed City, it's bad. Like you can't see anything.
And the Unnamed City has unnamed skeleton demons, has unnamed monsters, has unnamed dragons, which, by the way, I have killed a dragon.
You're a dragon killer.
Yeah. They have other names for me for this, but we're not going to talk about that.
Travis the Dragon Slayer.
Yes, Dragon Slayer. He who bleeds all dragons.
We 100% only call you nice names like Travis the Dragon Slayer.
Yes, they call me lovely names. Anyway, so daytime is still decent looking. There is shadows change, everything with that. But I will say the thing that makes it for me is we're playing on the Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
Their auto HDR for this game is legit.
Yeah.
It looks really good. If you have an OLED display, it's stupid at night, though. It is so hard to see at night because they go for like a pure black in areas. But looks really great. Haven't played it on the Series S, but I imagine it's the same.
Yeah.
There are 2 graphical settings. They now have quality mode, which on the Xbox Series X gives you 4K at 30 frames per second. And then they have performance, which is 1440p at 60 frames per second, which is what I play. Like 30 frames for this game.
Nah.
No point. All right. Anything else you want to say about graphics?
The weather.
Okay.
Is pretty impressive, I will say, because in the desert areas, you get the sandstorms. They're deadly. They're terrible.
They're so cool looking.
But when they're rolling in, I just want to sit there and stare at them because they're gorgeous when they roll in.
Yeah.
And then in the jungle area, you have the thunderstorms. There's lightning. And so in the middle of the night, all of a sudden, everything lights up really bright because the lightning comes in. They did a really good job on that, as far as I'm concerned. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I will agree with all of that. All right, sound. Do you listen with the sound on, or do we just talk?
I do, because I've been playing a lot more by myself during the daytime. Yeah. I do typically have... The music, for me, is really nice. I like it. I like that it changes when you get aggro, because that helps you know that something's chasing you without having to look around.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to me, it's just very repetitive. The music is very repetitive. It changes depending on what area of the map you're in, but then it just repeats over and over again.
I've also found that the music will sometimes get really intense for no reason.
Yes, and scare the crap out of you for no reason.
And it's like you're... I guess the song gets into a part with like a crescendo or something. Is that the right music term? Crescendo, make thing go boom, clashy things.
Loud.
Okay, I didn't do musics. So it gets into something like that, and then all of a sudden the volume goes up on it, and you think you're about to be murdered and thrown into a pit by hyenas, and that doesn't happen.
That is a thing, though.
There are demon dogs too.
Yeah,
I just found that out the other day.
the undead hyenas.
And there is like an ambience to the game, like the sounds that are around you from nature are really good in general, except for kookaboos.
Kookaboo.
Okay, so kookaboo is our catch-all term for birds.
Yeah.
Except for ostriches, because they aren't quite kookaboos.
No.
So.
But they did kind of make ostriches like peacock colored.
Yeah, they're like.
Postrages?
Postrages. Yes, we need to call them postrages. Postrages and kookaboos. Mm-hmm. And the kookaboos are definitely like a human-made bird sounds. It's like, whenever you kill them, it's so bad.
It's terrible.
I don't know if like they just like, oh, what does a kookaboo sound like? I know what a kookaboo sounds like.
That's brilliant. Record it now.
Yes. So that's the sound effects in the game are okay. I mean, there's nothing. The sound effects do kind of let you know when you hit certain things and all that.
Yeah.
Generally pretty good. All right. Down to the last little bit before we get to bonus points. The funosity.
Okay.
Do you enjoy this game? Is it fun?
Yes.
It's too fun.
It's too fun. It should be illegal for the amount of fun that we're having.
Unless you are a hermit and live in a cave, you probably won't enjoy this by yourself.
But see,
or would you?
Yeah, because I'm typically a pretty reclusive person.
Same here.
I don't like to venture out, and people kind of freak me out. So like I said before, I did not want to play the game initially by myself because I did not understand what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
I do thoroughly enjoy the social aspect of it, but I will say that there is something really relaxing about when it's, I'm on by myself. It's just the noises of the game and I'm building something and it's all very calming and soothing. Now, I don't want to adventure alone, but having an area that's fenced off so nothing can come in, nothing spawns inside, and I can just sit back and build and listen to the music and the sounds. That's nice.
So, and that is the thing that I think is nice about this game. It, like I said, it's the cannibal pot pie. Yeah. It's a nice mixture
Feast
of things.
Yog.
Yeah, and you get little bits, and I don't know. You can almost have a different experience depending on how you approach this game.
Yeah, you can play it how you want to play it. You can run off and be as completely random as you want to be. You can stay at your base and build and do whatever you want to do. So it flows with whatever mood you're in for the day.
All right. And here's the real question. Is this a good game?
I think it's a good game.
I would agree.
I know I've heard from people that when it first came out, everyone hated it because it was janky and it wasn't as developed. But even some of those people have since come back to play with us and said it was a pretty good game. So I
think there's like a balance of jank to good, and sometimes it tips depending on the update. And I think if for those of you that have played this in the past, maybe you haven't played in a year and a half or so,
I think it's worth
come back
a reshot.
And if you have Xbox, it's on Game Pass. If you've done the PS Now, I always forget what the PlayStation way they call it. They had this game as part of like PS Now or PS Plus months ago, but it's not there anymore. It sucks to be you. It's hard to find actually used.
Really?
Yeah, because they mostly do it online. We managed to find a copy for Caleb that was at GameStop for $20. So
oh wow,
you might get lucky, but if you look on eBay, sometimes they go for like $90.
Yeah,
for the physical version
because they're so few and far between.
And a good thing is, let's say you don't have internet, you don't want to play with people online. They do offer a single player mode now. They did not at the beginning of this game. It was only server based. Now, speaking of server, before we get towards ending this, we rent a server, but to have your own private server that is not tied to one person running the show, you do have to pay for it. So that's something to keep in mind. If you have a group of people, and you don't want to be tied to that one person
by party.
Yeah, they have to be in there. Yeah. You definitely want to rent it.
Because we definitely went from, we had to go everywhere that one person went. Mm-hmm. If that one person died, we all got rubber banded back to the beginning or wherever he respawned. And we went from that and into, okay, I'm going to go farm iron. You go kill Scorpion King. Mm-hmm. And then this guy can go do this. And we don't have to be right there with each other.
Right. Everybody can kind of do their own thing. Yeah. And the rubber banding has sometimes positive effects if you are dying a lot.
Spot. Yeah.
But if you're not, or if the main person dies, then everybody goes back to their bed. Which is really
weird,
when you just all wake up in bed together after you've died, there are questions you have to ask yourself. Do you want to go back out with this person?
Is this worth it?
Yeah, probably not.
Will they still respect me in the morning?
Yeah. Okay, last one. Why do you actually keep coming back to Conan Exiles?
Because I feel like it is a good, mostly solid game, and my friends enjoy it, and it's something that we can do together, and you can work on it as much or as little as you want. There's no real consequences to not playing, but it's super addictive, so why wouldn't you play?
Yeah.
I'm kind of mad that I'm here now and not at home playing.
I know. It's like I'm looking at a TV over there. It's like, Now, I will say this. I almost feel like there are some parts of this game that almost, it feels not so much like you're playing a game as if you're creating parts of the game in itself. You're creating your own adventures. You're creating things, which I think is a big part of why games like Minecraft or a lot of these other sandbox style games. But this one has more to it, to where it's not just that sandbox full of randomness. The map is actually created by people. They put time and effort into how it's put together. And everyone's
map. Yeah, and everyone's map looks the same. So the resources are all in the same place. The dungeons are all in the same place.
But there's so much game.
So much game.
And, I'm curious what they're going to improve in the future. I know they have a bunch of updates coming. They're adding gods and things like that. They're trying to keep this game going. And it's still fairly popular. That could be because nobody's releasing games anymore. And I'm sure there's going to be a big, to talk about contemporary news items. There's a lot of people leaving games like World of Warcraft right now that are mad at Blizzard. I'm sure they'll see some net benefit from that as people are looking for some new thing to play.
Right. That's massive, like World of Warcraft, but, maybe a little different.
And I know I don't connect with a lot of games like that. I know I kind of went with you and Ryan trying to find a game that I could enjoy, and I struggled with it because I don't like MMORPGs. There's something about it. I don't know if it just feels... it doesn't feel unique.
It can get monotonous.
Yeah.
You talk to someone, they give you a quest. You go do quest, you come back, you talk to them, they give you a reward. You go to the next guy, talk to him, they give you a quest. And it's just wash and repeat. And I think that something is refreshing about Conan is that there is none of that. You make your own adventure, you find everything there is to be found, or you look online and find someone who has, and then they'll tell you where to go. But there's no real structure, there's no quest completion reward, quest completion reward. It's just you do you.
Yeah. All right. So I think that is about it. We'll be going to bonus points in a minute. I think my number review, I'm going to say 7 disembodied legs out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you got? Number wise.
How about on a scale from 1 to Cannibal God, how many Jake steaks is it?
Oh, I like that. How many Jake steaks is this?
Yeah, I think that's what we'll go with.
So what's your number? How many Jake steaks out of 10?
Out of 10, I'd give it 9.
9 Jake steaks.
Yeah.
That's
I'm particular, and I don't play a whole lot of games, like variety-wise. And when I do, I hyper-focus on something, and this one has held my attention pretty well. And like I said before, if you want to build, you go build. If you want adventure, you go adventure. You don't have to be tied to a certain routine.
after that, I feel like we need to make a cover band. Now, this is only going to be a joke people that listen to ska are going to get, but we need to make Less Than Jake Steak.
Less Than Jake.
Yeah, there's a
Steak.
band called Less Than Jake, but
I like it.
we're gonna make a Conan Exiles cover band called Less Than Jake Steak.
Less Than Jake.
All right, now that wasn't funny for anybody but like me and 3 people. All right, guys, when we get back from the break, we're gonna have bonus points where we asked a bunch of lamers on Reddit what was their first purge like. See you guys after the break. All right, guys, before we start giving out some bonus points, if you like what we're doing, drop on by our Twitter at LamerGamersCast and give us a follow. That way you can keep up with us lamers, because there's always something going on, like a hurricane, tropical storm, another hurricane, snake crawling in my dishwasher, which might happen again soon because the dogs left the door open the other day, and there could be snakes in our house. Hey, Skylar, I shouldn't have told Skylar about that. No! But there's probably not snakes in our house. I looked around in all the snake-looking places.
Almost.
Yeah, snakes.
That's when you burn it to the ground.
Yeah.
And move.
Okay, anyway, plants exploding next to Rowdy's house, and you can join in the fun by replying to the bonus points topic we post up on our Twitter. And if you want to give us a coffee, go over to kofi.com and look for the Lamer Gamers and buy us a coffee. Yeah, that means they give us money that's worth a coffee.
Oh.
And I make coffee to help fuel the show because I work too much.
Yeah.
And so does Rowdy, and we can give you coffee, but you turn down the coffee. I've had too much coffee right before this. I just chugged a bunch, and it's time to bring back bonus points theater.
Theater.
Yes. So what we're going to do, I haven't done this in a while, and I have a real actress here today, a thespian. Is there like a specific way you're supposed to say lady thespian?
No, pretty much just thespian.
It's just thespian. Okay. We have a real thespian today. And we're going to act out the purge. Or we asked a bunch of lamers on Reddit, what was their first purge like? So we're going to read these out in very different ways that we came up with. The first one, I put Skyward.
That's okay. I knew what you meant.
Skyward.
I knew what you meant.
This one is going to be real Southern, like
real
super
Southern.
excitedly Southern.
Okay.
And this is by Ombre 35.
Ombre 35. Okay. My first purge was on Noob River. Imps. They spawned at a bridge I called Two Thrall Bridge because it had 2 thralls guarding it, and I lost both of them. They were Defari Fighters 1, both level 0, but I and my follower, a Black Panther, survived. My second purge was hyenas on an island on Noob River, and they spawned in my base behind my defenses. I lost multiple named production thralls, workbenches, a shrine to set, and T4 priests, and no clue how many materials. I almost stopped playing forever. I was so mad, but I kept playing. I'm like 10 purges in now, and I think it's my favorite part of the game.
Wow, bravo. That was epic. Oh man, I gotta work on this. All right, so this next one is by Bruiser Broly, and this is an escapee telling a secret about how they escaped. Okay, listen. This is how we got it. My friends and I, we were in a small creek area just south of the Savannah. I had just finished a wall base with an enclosed switchback staircase to the top of the cliff that guarded the back of our base. When the purge hit, the Croc boss and 5 or so normal gators spawned in on our staircase and smashed the entire staircase and most of the building below. The only reason we didn't lose everything is because one of our clan picked up all the benches and chest as soon as it started and ran away with them very slowly.
It was good.
Yeah, thank you. So this next one, Skylar, tell us a fish story, but like about the biggest rock nose.
Okay. I got a good one. Long time ago, but I do recall it was an avalanche of rock had not yet converted to T3 when it happened, like third tier building materials when it happened. Base Fortress is up on a ridge at Oasis with main courtyard down in a valley. So half the purge waves started spawning in the walled-in courtyard under the fortress between the walls, while all my thralls were outside guarding the perimeter, managing okay until the final few waves after losing the lesser-geared thralls. And then the giant rock-nosed king shows up like 10 foundations tall, wailing on support beams and taking out a quarter of the lower levels. Had a fair amount of rebuilding to do, but it wasn't a total loss, and the main structure was largely intact. Good times.
Good times. All right, so this next one, it's a bit longer than most. It's an old Southern man recollecting about old times.
Sitting in a rocking chair, drinking out of a jug with an X on it.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember my first purge. The annoying ones... Oh, by the way, I'm hodl onto your bits.
Hodl on to your bits.
Onto your bits. Now, I don't remember my first purge. The annoying ones are the ones that spawn at civil infrastructures. That's bridges and altar platforms. I had a bridge at the Sentinels that was damaged in a purge and later torn down because the spot was basically a fort anyway, and superseded by a more modern bridge upriver. Now, most have been in my castles, and the most serious attack was at Carneath in the Highlands. That's on the rise overlooking the entrance leading up from the Broken Sentinel. It was an army of Nordheimers, and it was nasty business. This is before I knew that prefer range causes archers to hop off the wall. The sole defenders I had inside scattered into the courtyard shortly after it began. Meanwhile, outside, the Nordheimers came in seemingly endless swarms. I lost track of the ungrouped thrall during the battle and found her dead later on. The Nordheimers damaged the walls, but breached the one spot where I broke my own rules and used the internal section of the wall as a storeroom. Luckily, little was lost, but I rebuilt it using stronger materials and cladding with fence foundations. I filled a greater wheel with named thralls from that. I got an idea for a mod from that purge. Wearable banners that could be attached to the thralls to better track their movements during a battle. No one has yet to take up that idea, though. Alas, that was the last Northern Siege purge I've had, unfortunately. The new workbenches and rebalanced resin more or less obsoleted all my cramped northern castles, now that I had a goodly stockpile of star metal. Everything else has been starving exiles, pirates, and Defari down in the south, cut down like wheat before the scythe with ease. In Sipta, though, I had a delightful purge at the colony I built on the southwestern coast. I had purposely built it as a wood stockade with palisades, the crafty devils. Crafty devils came at night, but were completely stymied by the compact design and palisades. It was a long purge, but an easy one, and I had to build an overflow wheel for all the thralls that were taken. I was to have a purge at the main castle I'd built at Ekal's Eye, north of the Grey One's land, but the game crashed during the countdown and I was cruelly robbed. I'd love to see how its defenses would have fared.
That was good. You know, I instinctively defaulted to the face I make when old Southern men talk to me.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah, you were very in character.
Thank you. Yes.
I did the polite head nod and the little smile. Yeah.
It was a little disconnected though. That was a little hard to.
It was long. That was like a cold read too. So
hey,
it was good.
Thank you. They did use the word goodly. That's why it was a. Yes,
all of that was dead on.
Yeah, it was.
It had to be old Southern man recollecting.
Yeah, that was awesome.
There's no other way to do that.
All right. Well, now that we've had enough recollecting, we got to be a little let down a little bit, but like let down like Karen's let down.
I just had my first on Noob River, and it was extremely disappointing, as nothing happened. It said imps were attacking, and I waited and waited and waited some more. Then it said I successfully defended against the purge, and what a monumental letdown that was.
Poor Skylar. All right, so this next one is special. This one's Skylar's. This is Double Feature Theater. So, it's not very long. First one, Stoic. Let's hear it.
Death. So much death.
Ooh, I could feel the lack of emotion. All right, now, let's ramp it up to 11. Overly dramatic.
Death! So much death!
So sad. All right.
Gather myself.
Oh, man. Okay. This next one is a hardened, battle-scarred veteran. I'm out of something to drink. This is going to hurt. I don't remember much of my first 2 purges besides logging into parts of my building, missing, and pets disappearing. I was new and I had no idea what was happening. My first purge I was there for happened in the exiled lands near the border of B7 and 8 just north of Set City. It started out as scorpions, then round 2 came, and it was the same. Round 3 came, and some one skulls were added, and everything seemed fine. Until a 3-skull scorpion queen showed up and demonstrated the importance of leveling up your thralls and pets you want to use for base defense, as well as giving them food to heal with. Besides the handful of deaths me and my 2 other clanmates incurred, we also lost about a dozen pets and 2 thralls. After that, we decided to build a wall, and on the wall, places for 7 archers, tier 3, level 5. All in medium Stygian raider armor. 1 dyed red, 1 dyed blue, 1 yellow, black, 1 pink, 1 green, and 1 white, cleverly named after each of the original Power Rangers. We then placed 6... I broke! Sorry. We then placed 6 pets, all level 0, in front of the wall as meat shields for the Power Rangers to pick off the enemy.
Meat shields for the Power Rangers.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's too much.
It's too much. Okay, meat shields for the Power Rangers. Let's get back to it. Okay.
Okay, great.
Get see. Okay. Behind the wall was 3 level 5 rhinos and a handful of level 5 greater pets. We had an extra of along with the team of 4 brothers, all 3 fighters. We leveled the brothers up to level 10 and gave them all Hyrcanian Raider armor, all dyed green, with 1 having a tint of red, 1 a tint of blue, 1 a tint of orange, and 1 a tint of purple. Their names: Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo. We equipped them each with the closest thing to their animated counterparts, and our quest to fortify our base was complete. Now we just needed to test our defenses. Long story short, we were on that server for at least 4 purges, and not a single one came back that way. On the other side of our base was a bridge across a valley and an elevator to the ground, and each time they spawned there. So to feed the bloodlust of the Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles, I would bring over a randomly spawned 1-skull shellback or panther. From time to time, I was able to kite over a 3-skull Sand Reaper queen.
Tragic. The bloodlust.
You had to feed the bloodlust.
I mean...
Who was this? Did I say the name of this person?
I don't think you did.
Dog Houston. You are my hero.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
That was beautiful. Dog Houston.
And so well written.
Oh, gosh.
So well written. Not disappointed at all.
That was amazing.
That was amazing.
Oh, man. I'm going to need help on this one because I about killed myself on that one. And we got one more. There's more. Go on the Conan Exiles Reddit and look for the question where we asked, what was your first purge like? And you'll see like 30-something responses. We just picked some of the best ones. I don't know if I have enough energy to go through much more of these. But here's the scene. I'm tired. I'm watching TV. I'm 80 years old, and this is the guy that's on TV trying to sell me things. Mm-hmm. He's trying to sell me the purge. So anywhere you need to hop in, hop in. All right. Oh, this is the Murk, M-U-R-K-H. My first purge happened when purges were often buggy and wouldn't happen, but then it did!
What?
I had just moved back to a new spot and had the base built in black ice and solid wall around it, as I hadn't decided where I wanted the gate. Now this caused them to spawn at the top of my base. Should also mention that this was just west of Bridge of Betrayer, and it was a Silent Legion purge. Now, I had no defensive thralls placed yet. They managed to tear through the doors, and the walls, and into the main part of my base. But I did alright at killing the first skeletons. Then the King Scourge came. But mind you, this is the first time I'd ever seen this guy.
Wait, there's more!
There's so much more! See, he quickly made it down to the main level of my base, absolutely tearing things apart. Chests, workbenches, everything. He quickly killed me, as I had no ideas of his attack patterns and huge attack radius. See, that's where the money's at. You got to pay for good attack radius.
Does this ever happen to you?
Has this happened to you guys? Have you been killed by a huge attack pattern, a huge radius? I couldn't get my corpse, as he would kill me before I had the chance to loot it. I grabbed a brand new legendary two-handed sword. Only $19.99 with 500 payments. And you have to kill the King Scorpion. Now, I grabbed this out of his surviving chest and fought him naked. Haha! Freeing. For what seems like forever, dying several times in the process. I finally took him down, but he had ripped down huge sections of my base. I lost numerous Tier 4 crafters and stockpiles of materials to loot bag decay. It was pretty intense, but man, it was worth it.
Legendary two-handed sword does not guarantee that you will beat the King.
Nice. All right, well that is the Purge Theater, bonus points theater.
I liked it. That was fun.
That was fun. I am
That was almost as much fun as actually playing the game,
which we're probably going to be doing soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that is it on the Lamer Gamers podcast. Thank you for joining in this side quest. Now, this is the first side quest probably of this. We'll probably come back to Kraken Castle and, talk about Isle of Sipta or maybe some craziness that happens in the future because the game is always changing. Yes. And thank you, Skylar, for joining in again.
Thank you for having me.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah. All right, guys, and we will hopefully be back in a week or two. I know we're going to get some new stuff going again because they actually, it seems like video game companies woke back up finally. So I have some stuff to talk about soon. Yeah, yay. Last thing that really happened important was Steam Deck, but then this week they're like actually doing stuff. Did you know they're going to re-release Grand Theft Auto 1, 2, and 3?
Why?
In Unreal Engine, because apparently people don't release new games anymore. It's like Hollywood. They don't release new movies.
They're just like out of ideas at this point.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that. There's some other stuff like Nintendo Switch is selling insane amounts of video games compared to everybody else.
Really?
Yeah, because man, I'm all about the Game Pass, but apparently,
that makes sense, though, because they're the only ones that don't have a subscription service at this point, right?
Yeah.
So they would technically sell more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
With the revenue, but the Switch is a money machine. Mm-hmm. All right, guys, that is it for the Lamer Gamers podcast. Thank you for joining, and we will see you back next week. You guys have a good day.
Bye.